Kim.
Yeah, I think that must be. And Jody. Pete Strawberry's back there. Oh, the chairman is not coming?
No.
Oh.
So we vote that later.
Okay. So I don't know who's from Ames Kramer, but go from there.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Are we all ready?
I like how you roll. Okay. Yeah, we're right here. Okay.
Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. My name is Pippi Mayfield. I'm in communications with MnDOT. So when we kicked off construction 5 years ago on this project, I was part of the team who sent out the press releases, did the social media posts, talked to the media, warned the public, take a different route, plan ahead. The first day we closed down the interstate to 1 lane each way, I went down Mesaba Avenue and got stuck in traffic for 20 minutes. And yeah, so we have been here with you the whole 5 years. I thank you personally, all of the business owners, the commuters, the residents, the freight haulers, the tourists, everybody who came, continued to support the area. We were right there with you, and we are very happy to celebrate with you all today. We have a list of speakers who are all going to say a few words today, and the first one, we will kick it off with Governor Walz.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you here on a beautiful day, and I know for so many of you up here who this is the lifeline to the community, you've been waiting many, many years, quite honestly decades, for us to modernize this interchange, both for safety, convenience, making sure we're tying into the freight possibilities that we have at the Port of Duluth and the Twin Ports of Superior. To our neighbors who came over from Superior, thank you. We know we're tied together, and in a few short years we'll be tied with a new bridge on the Blotnick Bridge. And what I have to say is, these investments we make in infrastructure are generational investments. They matter not just now, they matter into the future, and we have a responsibility as our forebears who came before us were willing to invest in this construction. And I tell this statistic to people because I think it's important to understand what it means to invest in Minnesota. We have the 4th highest amount of road miles of any states in the country. California, Texas, Illinois, and Minnesota. Size-wise, we're about 19. Which means we are far more invested per capita in our infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, our transit than any other state. That would be enough in itself, but Minnesota consistently, again, ranks amongst the top 4 states in road safety and road quality. And that is because of the partnership that goes into doing this. So I want to thank Mayor Reinert and the folks up here in Duluth, multiple mayors and multiple city councils continuing to invest in infrastructure. To St. Louis County and the commissioners, partners in it. And I think everyone here knows those statistics I gave you too, Illinois maybe being the difference, especially in Duluth. It is very, very difficult with the changes in weather, with what we see in the freezing, the warming, the lake, and everything else, to make sure that we're maintaining our infrastructure. That means we ask the citizens to invest in it. That's what we ask the citizens of the state to invest to make sure, because as Duluth goes, so does the rest of the state. So I am incredibly proud of this. To our state legislators, over the last 6 years, we have passed 2 of the largest construction bills in state history to making sure that we're investing in infrastructure across the state, all corners of the state, multimodal. And also you're going to hear from some folks here talking about that difficulty in building in cold climates. That's been exacerbated as we see climate impact. So when we build resiliencies, whether it's the lake walk that we rebuild or the investments we make, making sure they're resilient, they can last for future generations. And what we know is that's about safety, it's about moving people and goods, it's about economic growth when you invest in infrastructure. So just congratulations. I appreciate the patience. You're seeing this across the state because right now we are investing more in infrastructure than at any time in state history. And we're seeing the benefits of that in terms of economic growth. And as I said again, trying to deal with the challenges of road safety. So there's so many folks to thank here. You're going to be hearing from some of those, but you have to invest to make these things happen. And I'm going to give a huge thank you to all of the skilled construction trades and building trades that made this possible. I'm going to give them a big round of applause. You hear me say this, Minnesota's a labor state and we protect our right to collectively bargain. We do that because it's the right thing to do. It improves the economic well-being of the people doing the work. But we also know when you hire skilled labor, you get the best quality people. It's why you can take a project like this consistently, come in with almost perfect safety standards, and come in under budget, because these are the true professionals that build, that put the steel in the ground across Minnesota, and protecting their right to collectively bargain so that they're safe on the job, they get a good wage, they have access to health care, and they get their chance at a good retirement. That's what gets young people into these incredibly important positions. So thank you to everyone who's involved. I want to make sure that I give thanks to the women and men of MnDOT who are working across the state, folks who I know when they see the orange cones and we see the detours. I know that there's drivers that are cussing a little bit about that, but let's just be very clear. This gets done because of those professionals, and it gets done with our partners in the Minnesota State Patrol, who I said again, make Minnesota one of the safest states for roads, and that is done because of that collaboration with the Minnesota State Patrol, the MnDOT engineers, and the folks that make this happen. So my yearly PSA is a little bit early this year. I don't want to hex us or anything, but it's going to be snowy season pretty soon. Make sure we're being safe on the roads, make sure we got a new intersection here, but keep the speeds down and make that happen. With that, I would like to introduce Rachel Loeffler, who is speaking on behalf of Senator Amy Klobuchar's office and our federal partners who invested in this. And I'll give a plug for this. The IIJA Infrastructure Act that passed a few years ago that's going to build the Blotnick Bridge that was a part of this was one of the most important pieces of legislation passed during our lifetime to include infrastructure. Senator Klobuchar was a true champion of that. I want to introduce Rachel Loeffler. Thank you.
My name is Rachel Loeffler-Kemp. I'm the Regional Outreach Director with U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar's office, and I have a letter to read on her behalf. Dear friends, thank you for the invitation to attend today's ribbon-cutting ceremony to celebrate the completion of the Twin Ports Interchange project. Though my schedule prevents me from joining in person, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Minnesota Department of Transportation, the City of Duluth, and the many partners who have worked to make this project possible. To meet the demands of our 21st century economy, we need 21st century infrastructure. The completion of the Twin Ports Interchange project will support over 80,000 vehicles a day, from an employee's morning commute to freight drivers moving goods across the region. The Twin Ports Interchange project was critical for improving safety along the Interstate 35 corridor. We know Minnesota will greatly benefit from investments made in needed transportation and infrastructure projects. And with the passing of the historic bipartisan infrastructure law, we have had extraordinary opportunities to expand, repair, and transform our highways, bridges, railways, and ports to ensure safe and reliable infrastructure for generations to come. I have consistently supported plans that leverage direct funding to rebuild and reinvest in our infrastructure. The success of this project would not be possible with the many partnerships that helped make it happen. And certainly, this project would not be possible without the tireless and steadfast work of everyone here today. Thank you again for inviting me to celebrate with you. As your partner in Washington, I will continue to work hard on your behalf. I am proud to serve you in the United States Senate. Sincerely, Amy Klobuchar, United States Senator. And I would like to introduce United States Representative Pete Stauber.
Good afternoon. I will not use the term can of worms any longer. I traveled a can of worms for 50 years to and from. To MnDOT, to the men and women in our building construction trades that built this. It's going to last a long, long time. And then your next project is going to be the Blotnick Bridge, and then it's going to be followed with the bond years down the road. thank you very much for the professionalism, for the hard work. And Nancy, I want to thank your communication team, because it took communication for the neighbors. You got to remember, before this was constructed, those of us who were born and raised here, we take Goat Hill, would come down Old Piedmont Avenue and take Goat Hill. This is safety. This is 21st century technology that's going to bring freight, people to and from the Twin Ports. And it's also going to be the investment that's going to bring economy to the most inland port in the United States of America, the Duluth Superior Port. This is about economy. This is about work. This is about investment in the future. And for those of you who have been around a long time, you know we are going to rebuild America. And it starts with projects like this. As my friends in the building and construction trades, these are generational jobs. These jobs are generational jobs, just like the mining jobs are generational on the Iron Range. In the future of mining, the growing of the critical minerals, you're going to be doing it for a long, long time. So with that being said, I want to thank the professionalism. Thanks everyone for coming out and supporting this project, because it just didn't start 3, 4, or 5 years ago. This started 15, 20 years ago, this stop. So I want to thank you all, and I would like to introduce Nancy Daubenberger, MnDOT Commissioner. Nancy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be here, that we are at this day where we are opening the important project of the Twin Ports Interchange. And this project improves the safety and traffic flow. So now we've eliminated those left exits and those blind merges, and it allows for large loads from the ports to stay on the interstate, and of course addresses infrastructure condition that was much in need of an investment. And Highways 35 and 53 are very important for this region, connecting the ports with commerce and the community's needs throughout the region. Very critical for the movement of freight. And with all projects, of course, coordination and cooperation with all partners is key, and that has certainly been the case with this project to make it a success. We've worked closely with our governor, with our elected officials, with our tribal members, St. Louis County and the city of Duluth, and many stakeholders to make this project a reality. My sincere thanks goes to them and to our CMGC contractor, the Ames Kramer Joint Venture, and their subs and suppliers. So thank you all for keeping your workers safe and working really hard to meet those workforce goals and safety goals on the project. Very pleased and proud of that. And thank you to our consultants on this project. So SEH and TKDA, Parsons, Alliant, and Ronnie and Isthmus. And of course, thank you to all my MnDOT team members who've worked so hard on this project for so many years. I really appreciate you. And also special thanks to our congressional members who worked hard over the years to bring funding to this project to address infrastructure. And with the passage of IIJA, we were able to move ahead the additional work packages that we had originally planned for this project but needed to wait at first because we didn't have the funding. So with the additional parts of the project getting done at the same time, then we were able to be efficient with the work on the project, with the time involved, and now we've set up the Blatnick Bridge project to be well poised for going into construction next year too. Also, a special thanks goes out to our tribal leaders and tribal members who came to the table to help us work through some very challenging times, and those who spent many hours on the project site. I want to say special thanks to Minnesota Indian Affairs Council, past chairman Robert Larson, our current chairman Robert Deschamps, and then the Fond du Lac Band, the previous chair, Gavin Dupuis, and the current Chair Bruce Savage. Thank you all for your partnership on this project. And we know road construction can be very inconvenient, impacts communities. We're grateful to the businesses and the community members in Duluth and all who travel this region for your patience over the last several years as we work to improve the system and bring it now to the finish line. So now that we're about to cut the ribbon on the project, and while we're looking forward to construction starting late next year on the Blackneck Bridge, please always keep safety in mind. Slow down, obey the speed limit, and avoid distractions behind the wheel to keep you and others on our system safe. So thank you all again for making this project a success. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you Minnesota, Senator, we have Jennifer McEwen, who not only represents the Duluth area, but serves on the Transportation Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll make my remarks today quick. What a day, right? Isn't it just beautiful? And I just want to offer my reflection of having grown up in this city with the can of worms and navigating it multiple times, countless times. It is a true pleasure to be standing here with all of you, all of the people who put years, over decades of work into getting the funding, into organizing to make sure that we could have this major improvement in this beautiful, beautiful work surrounding us. And I also just want to speak to how I think this beautiful work and all of the cooperation that went into completing this project really speaks to this place where we are. We are standing now in the zenith city of the Great Lakes, the furthest inland port, which we all take so much pride in, on the greatest lake in the world. We are at the juncture of travel between Wisconsin, Michigan, the Dakotas, down from Canada, from the South. We are here in the middle of so much. And we are so lucky to live in this place and to be at this conjunction where all this action happens and all this communication and trade occurs. So with those thoughts in mind, I especially want to say thank you, as Governor Walz did, shout out to the building and trades, including the 49ers, carpenters, ironworkers, painters, and more. This is truly excellent work that all of you have done. We're so proud of the work that you do in our community and these public works projects that you do, especially to shore up all of the work that all of us can do here in community. So thanks very much to all of the workers, and thanks very much to MnDOT and to the community of Lincoln Park and the business community of Lincoln Park as they waited for this project to come to completion. So bravo, everyone. Thank you very much. My apologies. I have to introduce the next person. I almost forgot. I'm very privileged to introduce my esteemed colleague, House Representative Pete Johnson.
First off, thank you all for coming out today. Welcome to my district, District 8A. And I'm surprised nobody said it yet, but what a perfect Duluth day, right? And you see projects like this, you see all the work that needs to be done. And I've always been just amazed at what goes into it and the amount of work that goes into the planning, to the construction, to the finishing, where you see different parts working separately, but then when it all comes together, everything is lined up perfect. You know, I look at, like, if I tried to design something like this, it would be off by a number of feet, and it's not something you can cover with trim or caulk, right? You look at these projects and you watch them get built and you see the work that goes into them. And to the folks in labor that are in the back and in the crowd, thank you for what you do. And when we talk about these construction jobs, right, we hear a lot about construction jobs. We hear about the folks in the trades. These are not just numbers on a spreadsheet. These are individuals. These are my friends. Their kids go to school with my kids. I coach their kids in sports. Their spouses work with my wife. These people are integral to our community. And these projects are what keep them here. So when we are so excited to cut the ribbon on this project, let's make sure that we have shovels ready to break ground on the next one. And that work gets done at the federal level, that work gets done at the state level, and that work gets done at the local level. And much like this project where all these different parts are working separately, in the end they come together, and that is when the work really gets done. So thank you so much for being here. I look forward to coming to many, many more of these across our city and across our state. And with that, I am fortunate to introduce Jody Slick from Equilibrium 3. Thank you.
Welcome to Lincoln Park and the Lincoln Park Craft District. I'm with Equilibrium 3, which is a neighborhood-based nonprofit. We do everything from the community center here to working on housing, economic development, etc. And I think it's really important as we do all of the thank yous, and I say ditto to everyone that I've heard, that we understand the real complexity of this project. I think I saw a social media post, maybe from the governor, that this is one of the most complex projects that have ever been completed in the state of Minnesota. Now, I think actually the most complex transportation thing is on the communication side, as they try to convince northern Minnesotans to use a zipper merge. But this is probably second. And what you need to understand is this is a place in which we are bringing so much diversity and so many diverse needs, and it has to resolve into the project that you see today. You've heard about these large loads that we need to be able to bring to and from our port. That's our regional economic driver. We have a small business district here that has been actively revitalizing, the Craft District, which, by the way, you should make sure you visit while you're here. We got some of the best food, best drink, best music. In fact, for 4 years, we've had pile driving, keeping a pretty steady beat in this neighborhood. So, but what a lot of people don't know is you are in a place called Lincoln Park 156. It's a census tract right here. You're sitting in it. And it happens to be the census tract in northern Minnesota. That is the most impacted environmental census tract in northern Minnesota. Residents here can actually have at-birth life expectancy that can be 20 years less than other areas. Lowest 0.5% of life expectancy in the state. And a lot of that is because of the history of this neighborhood and the impact that we had, and a lot of disinvestment over many years. And we've been turning that around. And this project reflects what our future is in this neighborhood. Where you're sitting right now almost didn't happen. As part of some of the initial design work that MnDOT went through, and this is, our brilliant engineers who know how to do the best engineering and make the best roads. For a while, this portion of the Twin Ports Interchange was going to actually, instead of being bridges, was actually going to be built on soil, and we would have had a wall in our neighborhood. But it is the work that has happened through the staff, through the consultants, through our politicians, et cetera, that allowed us all to come together to make sure that our neighborhood could continue to be connected. And it's that same type of care and concern for all of the different stakeholders that we see not only here with the Twin Ports Interchange, but we have already felt as it relates to the Blotnick Bridge. We do talk about one small census tract that is already very challenged. Having to spend 10 years hosting heavy highway construction between the Twin Ports Interchange and the Blotnick Bridge. But many of the people and the voices that you see here have supported a human scale investment in our neighborhood, which is also a transportation project for the rebuild of West Superior Street, which will help the 27% of our 65-year-old and younger people that have a disability in this neighborhood, and the 50% of residents that don't have access to a private vehicle. It's working together that created this project and opportunities for us to move forward. Now, I have to say, I'm very lucky because I get to introduce a player yet to be named from Ames-Kramer joint venture, those that spent 4 years working on building this project. I want to let you know that my grandpa was in the CCCs and then worked heavy highway construction for years. And Representative Stauber talked about generational impact. I know that my grandpa helped build Pattison Park and paved Volk Field in Wisconsin. For all of those workers that have spent the past 4 years here, you've created generational stories in which your children and your grandchildren and probably your great-grandchildren will be saying, hey, my grandpa or my grandma or my mom worked on that project. So for those of us that thank you for the past 4 years and giving us our future, well done, gentlemen.
Well, thanks everyone for coming. I've never been so happy to be the person yet to be named. I'm Ben Lovin with Ames Construction, so the A portion of the Ames-Kramer joint venture. And with me, Steve Kaldenbach from the K, the Kramer side of the joint venture. So Steve and I started coming up here in October of 2018.
Yep.
So for the last 7 years, we've been a part of this project. And for a year before that, we were working on getting our team pulled together and deciding how we could approach this project and win it. So that 8 years of investment has turned into a project that is not like most other projects. The way that the team has come together, the contracting team, our subcontractors working with the MnDOT folks, this truly is unique. And there's been a lot of discussion. The governor talked about it, commissioner talked about it, all the men and women that help support building this project. And that's who I'd like to thank, the folks that are traveling, living away from their families, being out here day and night when it's hot, when it's cold, in the rain, and building what you see by hand, because it largely gets done by hand. And fortunately, we've got craftspeople that can do that, and we're able to keep developing the next generation of craftspeople. So when we look under that bridge and we see the Blotnick in the distance, we've got crafts and we've got a craft workforce that's ready to tackle that thing too.
Thanks, Ben. My name's Steve Kaldenbach, like Ben said, I'm with Kramer. I also want to thank another group, and that's our subcontractors and suppliers that also work with Ames-Kramer. Sometimes they don't always get the notarization or the public awareness of what they do, and we want to thank those people because they're an integral part of the team. And we talked about team. Governor Walz talked about teamwork and the people that build this project. They are part of that team, right? Whether it's the concrete we're standing on, the beams that are up above our heads, or the structural steel, they all play an important part in making this come together. On these large infrastructure projects, we need those partners, and I'm really glad that we have those partners to help build this project going forward, right? And it's just really, it's all the men and women that work with those subcontractors and suppliers that help us build what we have in front of us. And so I really want to thank those people for bringing us to this completion of this project. And like same thing like Ben said, those people and those subcontractor suppliers that are either here locally in Duluth or Superior or in Wisconsin or Minnesota or across the country, we need those people to build these projects and the upcoming projects like the Blotnick Bridge. So again, I want to thank those people, and thanks for listening to us today.
And I think we got the mayor coming next.
Sounds good. Now I'm happy to introduce Mayor Roger Reinhout from the city of Duluth.
Well, thanks, guys. And, Jody, we laugh about it now, but I can vividly recall visiting a Lincoln Park Business District and chatting with the owners as the pile driving was occurring, right? And I was like, wow. And they were like, yeah, every day, all day. So in addition to at least now a couple of generations who are going to have to explain to our kids and grandkids about the hanging stoplight that no longer exists, and they're going to be what are you talking about? The can of worms is officially no longer a thing, which is something to celebrate. I do want to try to work port into my comments just so Kate Van Dale gives me another whoop. I think that was great at the start. And before I begin my official comments, I have to, for my friends Dan and Pock sitting in the front row, tell everyone stop using the Piedmont frontage road as if it were the Piedmont I-35, 535 connection. You don't need to do it anymore. As we know, the big trucks can travel right above us now. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I am last of the speakers. I was told I was intentionally put last to try and pick up the pace a little, manage your expectations. Today does mark a major milestone for Duluth and for our region. After years now of construction, we are finally able to reconnect the backbone transportation system of northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. And as somebody mentioned earlier, that is so critical. As Duluth experiences a resurgence in manufacturing, that manufacturing is largely built on the connection of rail, of road, of airport, and the only true, I mean, I know other cities say they have ports, the only true port in the state of Minnesota, along with the largest port by tonnage on the Great Lakes. These multimodal transportation connections matter, not just for our convenience, but for our economy. And this completion today is not just about a safer, more efficient travel system, but again, a better connected Twin Ports. You know, this has been one of the most impactful infrastructure efforts in Duluth's history. The project brought over 1 million hours of construction trades labor into the Duluth community, the Twin Ports community, the regions of northeastern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin. A remarkable investment into our local workforce. And through that partnership with MnDOT and through our workforce development partners, we've helped recruit and train residents right here in Duluth, and those skills don't leave when this project's done. They stay and they invest in the next projects, the Superior Street Reconstruction Project, the Blotnick Bridge Project. These investments in our workforce open doors to long-term careers in the construction trades, careers that are good paying jobs, family supporting jobs. We should also note that environmentally this project set a new standard. 2 full-size temporary water treatment systems were installed, one on each side, and each is capable of processing some 500 gallons of water per minute. To put that in perspective, that's enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool in just under 12 hours. These systems will help responsibly treat contaminated groundwater runoff from the roads, protecting both the environment and the neighborhoods and the business district in which these projects reside. The redesign also improves our infrastructure footprint. The new interchange reduces total bridge deck area by 50%. And as Jody mentioned, thoughtful planning helped mitigate the extensive impacts to not just Lincoln Park, but also downtown and the West Duluth neighborhoods and business districts. And I will say, help prepare us for what is still to come. So while we celebrate the opening today and we all have to relearn our, by memory shortcuts and detours that we got used to over time, we know that the Blotnick Bridge Reconstruction Project is coming, and that's going to be another major lift for the Twin Ports communities, major lift for the Lincoln Park neighborhood and business district. So a sincere thank you to everyone who worked tirelessly on this project, including engineers and laborers, planners, community liaisons, city staff, state staff, business leaders, our tribal partners, nonprofit organizations, and interested residents. Your efforts have built something that will serve our city truly for generations. As a city, we know how important it is to invest in our roads, our bridges, and the people who build them. These aren't just projects, but they are the blueprint and construction plan for how we continue to grow and grow stronger as a community. So with that, I will turn it back over to Pippi, who I think now will lead us in all of the festivities. So thank you.
All right, I have 4 things for you. Number 1, we're going to have a couple minutes if anybody has questions for any of our speakers. Number 2, we have refreshments in the back for everybody. Number 3, we are going to head up this on-ramp right here and have the ribbon cutting in a few minutes. And then number 4, any of the media who wants to do one-on-one interviews, there'll be time after that. So, do you have any questions for our speakers? We'll just take a couple TPI related, please. Do we have an opening date yet? Ames Kramer. I have no idea what? I know. Go ahead.
That's the most important question. That's the only question that matters.
Yeah. So the question you couldn't hear because the dump truck going by was so loud is when does it open, which is kind of ironic. So we still got a couple of things that we're finishing up. Right now we are targeting to have pretty much everything open by the 24th. So it's coming. It's coming. There'll still be little bits and pieces to finish up here or there, but it's coming soon. Thanks.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Anyone answer the question as what would be money that's been appropriated to take away from this country with what's going on for that process?
Not for TPI. For TPI. The TPI is already taken care of. The funding will not be changed for that. Go ahead. Right back here is the skate park that we had taken out and it's being put back in. I don't know that there's anything right down here. There will be other uses under 53 over there. All right, let's head up this on-ramp and we'll have the ribbon cutting. Like I said, any other interviews you want, come back down here and refreshments in the back.
We just had leftovers last night.
You should have come back again.